So, I'm not a cellist, so I'm sorry about all the D strings. This particular cello is very low on that D string, so it's kind of tough without hitting all the other strings. So I guess that's a whole nother issue that I probably will talk about in another video, is how to check your instrument, make sure it's in proper working condition. But there's very little we can do about it because budgets are limited. But it's always good to let your teacher know if there's an issue. Anyways, on to the music. So with the cello part definitely is a very fundamental part for the orchestra. With the cello being on the low end, it will give much more support to the violins and violas, especially in regards to intonation and just giving them a firm foundation for them to play on. So it's very important that the cello part be prominent, and as well as the bass part. So the ideas that we're going to have in this piece is with the quarter notes throughout, we want to have a good martelet attack. So martelet means hammer. You have to treat your bow as if it were a hammer and you're striking the strings. So there should be a clear beginning and there should be a clear end to each note. So this would be a good martelet stroke. Doing separate bows, but you're also giving a little bit more weight to your bow hand in your first finger. That's going to give the attack we want on each particular note. So all quarter notes will have this attack, as opposed to something very legato or détaché, which is very fluid and doesn't have those attacks. So now when we get to eighth notes, I want you to do the opposite and make them legato, make them détaché. Same thing with the half notes. Whatever notes are. So you want to make sure that you're feeling good strident or martelet quarter notes, very legato eighth notes, and legato half notes. Now, with the fingerings on here, just be very careful that you know how to get around in G major. So the key is G major, and we can tell because the key signature only has one sharp. And that one sharp is F sharp, because we know the order of sharps, which is fat cats go down alleys eating birds. Or I'm sure your teacher has another way of teaching you the order of sharps. But because it's one sharp, we have to do those F sharps. So on the D string, we must be using our third fingers. So not second fingers on the D string, because that would be F natural. We need to be doing third fingers. Now on the A string, we've been playing C sharps, but because there's only one sharp, we're not going to be doing that C sharp anymore, so it has to be your second finger. So D string's third finger, A string second finger, G string. This is G string and C string are different fingerings. So you have to use your third finger for B natural, as well as third finger on the C string for E natural. We don't really have too many notes on the C string. We did get to, oh boy, sorry about that. We did get to, on the C string, we have to do our third fingers. So that would be E natural. But we don't really get to that in the music. We have one note, which is your F sharp, and that's your extended four. And we'll talk about those as we get to it. But do be aware. In this first line is very straightforward. So worry about your style, bow strokes. Think about your dynamic levels. It starts out very stately. We have those Ds. And then the theme comes in, and we have to be mezzo forte. Right? So a little bit less on that mezzo forte. And then have fun with these arpeggiations. So this part. walking arpeggios, walking bass lines. You share that with the violist. Play them out, but don't cover the melody. The melody is in the first violin section. So always be aware of where the melody is. And in this particular piece, we only get it one little bit, and then really we're accompaniment for the most part. But that doesn't mean we can't have fun. So enjoy it. It is a great part. Now, when you get to measure 6, this is the first time we get to the dotted quarter notes. Dotted quarter notes, I'm sure your teacher has told you, anytime a dot comes after the note, it means you must augment the note, or it becomes larger by half. So in this case, it's a quarter note, and in 4/4 time, the quarter note gets 1 beat. So you add half of 1, which is a half, and 1 plus a half is 1.5. So that means you hold the D for 1.5 beats, and you must move on the G for the dotted quarter note, and then you move on the A for the 8th note on the and of 2. So you're holding 1, 2, and 3. So you gotta move after 2, but before 3. 1, 2, and 3. So feel that second beat, and then don't spend your bow so quickly, because you'll get stuck at the tip, and then you'll run out. Or some students will want to get to the frog, and they'll use a big up bow, and that big up bow is not where we want it. The most important note should be the G, or the dotted quarter note, and that dotted quarter note is the downbeat. So we want to not put the emphasis on the 8th note. So feel 1, 2, and 3. So lighter on those 8th notes. Save on the dotted quarter note. 1, don't spend a lot of bow. 1, give a little bit more weight so we can hear it. 1, 2, and 3. And it happens again here. What is this? Measure 8. You have B, A, G. Make sure that B, if you get stuck at the tip, don't do a big whammo on the G, right? Or whatever notes. 1, 2, 3. So lighter on that single note so it doesn't stick out. And then you repeat back. Think about your style. Don't forget the quarter notes are martelé, 8th notes are more legato détaché. And then we repeat the whole thing back to measure 3, and then take the second ending, and this time we go on. Second ending does say RIT last time, so that means do the ritardando the very last time. So slow down gradually after we've done the DS. So after you get down to the bottom page, you go back up. That's when we do the rit. And then there's also a fermata on that dotted half note, and we talked about dots after notes. And anytime it's after a half note this time, half notes get 2 beats. So if you're going to add half of 2, that's 1, so you're going to have 3 beats, right? So make sure you count the 3 beats, because we're actually not going to do the fermata. Fermata means to hold. And we're going to wait to the very end to do the fermata, and then I'm going to give you your release, and then we're off, right? So skip the fermata for the first time through, wait till the DS. So I'll play the repeat back to measure 3, going on to the second ending. So you should be counting in your head. 1, 2, 3, and then if you look, there's 3 beats only in that measure. That's because the arranger did not want you to get confused and did not want the first violins to do the pickup into the next section. He wanted to be clear that that was the fine. Fine means end. So since it's not the fine yet, we didn't do the DS, we are going to go on. and the first violins are going to do their pickups. And so if you look at the next measure after the dotted half note, you have 1 quarter rest. So because the dotted half note gets 3 beats and you have that 1 quarter rest, that's the 4th beat, and that makes up the full measure. Then measure 13 is going to be when you come in. So make sure you're aware that you're going to get to that fermata, or the dotted half note, count 3 beats, and then off on 4 for the first violins to do their pickup, and then we come in on beat 1. So I'll do the second ending. So with that section, it's very crucial that we're always counting our rests. For the most part, we have quarter rests after quarter notes. So feel it internally. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. And then you get to the quarter rest and half rest combinations. When you have those, you have to be thinking quarter rest is 1, half rest is 2, so that's 3 beats of rest I'm going to count. Now, professional musicians and good high school musicians will always breathe when they are counting their rests. Generally, it will always be the upbeat or the rest before you come in. So feel those rests internally. Don't forget to breathe. Start working on that kind of stuff so that you are coming in together. And if your entire section is breathing together, it will be solid. We won't miss a beat. So feel measure 13. So be aware that those rests are there on purpose. We have to be very clear about our martelet attacks. Don't hold over, don't linger, because we do want to hear that silence. It is only the first violins that are playing through, so we are kind of supporting them at this. We don't want to be in the background when we shouldn't be. Then measure 20 going on to 21. Those pickups take us right back to the main theme. So this whole section here at measure 13 was the B theme, the B section. Now we're going back to that A section, the A material. It's very similar. The only thing that's different is our arranger, Mr. Leidig, put an F sharp when it used to be an A. So like measure 3 ends on A, right? But here you have the pickup. This is the pickup to 21. F sharp. Still in the chord, still the right notes. It's just something he changed up. So we're going to stick with it. Use the F sharp. Just be aware that it's different. And then this whole section, same thing as what we did before. Keep the martelet strokes. Keep the legato strokes. Sorry. And then we get to the pickup to measure 29. And this is the C theme, or in our Rondeau, the C section. So we had A, B, now we have C. So here we have a lot to do with dynamics, and this is what really makes the music come to life. It's going to make it very interesting for our audience. So we want to make sure that we really exaggerate our dynamics. And there's a little bit more movement. This is the time when we get a little bit more of a tune. So this is the pickup to measure 29. very long section, but it really is a powerful part of this piece. We want to make sure we're very aware of all those eighth notes. Practice it slowly, measure 30. Make sure we're thinking of the F naturals. In this section, we don't do F sharps anymore. We're no longer in the key of G. We moved into C major, or the relative minor, which is A minor. So be careful that we're thinking about those eighth notes. We practice it, get very good at it. Then we have to deal with the accidentals, the F sharps and the G sharps. Be careful. We're thinking extensions, right? So we have E, extend your second finger. This has to move up. We are no longer using our third finger for F sharp, but we move that second finger. We're thinking extend and get it up to F sharp so that we can get that fourth finger up for the G sharp. So when we're doing this, we have to get used to those. So if you haven't done these in your class yet, take out one of those method books that your teacher's given you. I'm sure there's a section where it gets into extensions. Look on how it works. I'm sure you can also be very resourceful. Go on to YouTube. There's tons of websites and videos that talk about extensions. But you want to be able to get your hand up high enough so that you're getting that G sharp. So G sharp was going to be 1/2 step higher than G. So where G would normally be, fourth finger has to move up just 1/2 step higher. So I always indicate my extensions with an X. I even have my violins that when they have to do their stretches, they're going to be thinking stretch or X, extend. So be sure you extend the third or the second finger to where the third finger normally goes, and then fourth finger is going to go down just like you normally place it, and it should be high. So that's going to take some practice. This is one of those finger exercises which I'm going to have a whole nother video about. And this is the augmented practicing those extensions. So it happens repeatedly, and then we're changing up the dynamics as well. So I really don't like doing open A's, but I think it's probably best for our level here. So this is what I'm talking about, exaggerating. When you have those forte dynamics, we're using our whole bow, right? But when we have the piano, it starts on the second beat. So the downbeat's going to be down bow. And then the second beat, we're going to stay at the tip and just use very little bow. So exaggerate, use very little bow for that section, and then the last note is the downbeat, and then the forte is again on the second beat. So we're going to use big bows again for the forte. So try and exaggerate the most you can. When we do this in an orchestra, we're going to have 60 some odd musicians on stage, and you should be able to hear the entire orchestra over your piano sound. So make it really soft so you hear everybody else's piano, and then we know that we're truly getting a very soft tone. And then when we have the forte, go for it. Be very careful. I kind of missed it right there, but do your extensions. Think about getting that fourth finger truly high. So I'm thinking of stretching this first finger to the second finger and then getting that fourth finger down for that C sharp. You're going from open D to C sharp, so really you think you have to get that up there. It takes practice. sure we're doing the same sort of extension back here on the C string. So getting that nice and high. You can double check it. Hopefully you have tapes on your instrument or pitch indicators, and your fourth finger should be placed right between that fourth finger tape and then the next, what I call fourth position tape, so that you know where the next string is. Anyways, so be careful of those extensions. Do the dynamics. At the end, it's all about those extensions. And then when you have those eighth notes, play them out. Measure 46. But don't rush. I hear a lot of groups getting... Take your time. 1, 2, and 3, and 4. Remember, we're going to make them nice and legato. And then you're back to the beginning, right? So be very careful with the style when you practice. It's important that you're thinking of the overall quality or the overall idea of this piece rather than just notes. You're doing honor orchestra here, so you want it to be the very best you can when you practice. When you get to the bottom of the page, you have your D, S, so that means you go back to the sign. And then the sign, I mean, it's really the same material all over. Do not do the first ending. We don't do repeats on DSs, so you must go on to the second ending. And since it's the DS now, we do the ritardando, and then we hold the fermata, and then I'll give you the release, and then we finish the piece. So I'll play one time from the pickups to the sign, which is measure 3. For whatever reason, I don't see the sign on this page. So. And that's how you're going to end. So if you have any questions, you can always get onto Google Classroom and ask me. Do ask your instructor first or your teacher at school. They're there to help you as well. But if you want to go ahead and utilize that Google Classroom, go ahead and start making videos, posting them up. You can have me listen to each section. I'll put little areas where you can work on things and submit them. I'll listen to them. I might not get to them right away. I do have my classes here at the high school. So do be patient about any responses I might give, but be thinking about the overall quality of the piece when you practice. Practice slow, practice careful, and then best of luck. I'll see you guys in February or March.